What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another video. I'm Michigan Sports Talk here, and in this one we're going to be giving the latest on Jim Harbaugh and the Big Ten suspension. Going to be going over all the possible options still on the table and a potential compromise by the Big Ten and Michigan. Ravens head coach John Harbaugh also spoke about his brother and the whole situation. Plus, Michigan lands a 2025 four-star quarterback. Sherrone Moore and Mike Elston talked to the media today about Michigan's 1,000th win coming up. And defensive tackle Kris Jenkins has been playing through an injury. It's all going to be in this video and more, so let's go ahead and get right into it. Alright, so the first thing that I want to talk about is an update on Jim Harbaugh and Michigan's TRO, temporary restraining order against the Big Ten, as there is a hearing set for Friday, and both Michigan and Big Ten will be able to present their cases. Right now, Jim Harbaugh on a 3-game suspension for the games against Penn State, Maryland, and Ohio State. Now, there are a lot of options still available, and we're going to be going over all of them. So the first one is obviously if Michigan is granted the TRO on Friday after the hearing, Jim Harbaugh, he will be set free. He will be able to coach the rest of the season for Michigan. Now, there is another option, as Michigan, the Big Ten, may come up with a compromise where Harbaugh only sits out against Maryland, but then he will be back against Ohio State, as the Big Ten, might want to avoid the Friday court date. However, that is if Harbaugh is willing to accept the compromise. Obviously, it is Michigan's 1,000th win in program history coming up on Saturday against Maryland if they are able to win that game. But right now, both those options are still on the table. Harbaugh, he might accept that compromise with the Big Ten to sit out against Maryland, but then come back against Ohio State just to put all that stuff behind, the whole team. Then after the Maryland game, there'll be no more distractions, no more drama or anything, and we can all just move past it. But that is if he's willing to accept it. Right now, obviously, Fox, they will be televising the Michigan-Ohio State game. They obviously want Jim Harbaugh to be on the sideline for that game because, let's be honest, it'll only up the ratings and the viewership. But those are the two options. Right now, the hearing is on for Friday, and both the Big Ten and Michigan will present their cases. Now, according to On3 and the Wolverine, if Jim Harbaugh does lose the court case in the hearing on Friday, they said that several attorneys they've spoken tell them that it could go to an emergency appeal as early as next week, and they believe Harbaugh would have a really good chance to win in the next step given their familiarity with the system and be back on the sidelines for Ohio State. So that is if Michigan and Jim Harbaugh isn't granted the TRO. So those are the options right now. So right now for Jim Harbaugh, it is more likely for him to be on the sidelines for Ohio State rather than both Maryland and Ohio State. We just have to see how this thing unfolds, if there will indeed be a hearing on Friday, and if there is, we will find out the results, or Michigan and the Big Ten could come to a compromise. We just have to wait and see what happens. Also did want to mention John Harbaugh, the Baltimore Ravens head coach and Jim Harbaugh's brother, came out and spoke about Jim Harbaugh and this whole thing going on. He said, "I talked to him quite a bit. I have a lot of opinions on it, obviously." He said, "I'm his brother and I'm proud as heck of him. I'm really impressed with how he's handled himself through all this. I mean, this has been a long run." He said about everything that could be done to his phones, his computers, and all that stuff had been looked at, and he's come through this thing with flying colors. They really have, I don't know what they're trying to get, but they don't have anything of substance. He said, "I'm just proud of him. I think it's a real compliment to our family, and to him, it's something for us to be proud of, and his kids can see this. You get in this type of situation where you come under fire for whatever reasons, and you come out in a really good place doing the right things all the time. I'm really proud of that, and I think it's great for our family, the kids, and it's a great blessing in that sense." And he said that he's a great man, he's a great coach, his players love him, his coaches love him, and he stands tall through all this. So far, Jim Harbaugh, he has come clean of any evidence attaching him to Connor Stallions or knowing anything about this operation. But I did also want to talk about Michigan's latest commitment from the 2025 four-star quarterback Carter Smith, as he announced his commitment to Michigan yesterday. He's ranked 213th nationally on 24/7 Sports composite rankings. From Fort Myers, Florida, goes to Bishop Verrett High School, 6'3", 180 pounds. And he chose Michigan over Florida, Florida State, Miami, Louisville, North Carolina State, Ole Miss, Penn State, and Texas A&M. I know a lot of you guys, worrying about Bryce Underwood and everything. Michigan is still going after Bryce Underwood, but Michigan and Jim Harbaugh, they aren't putting all their eggs in one basket. They have now confirmed that. They did it before, it didn't work out, and they're at least coming away with a good quarterback out of Carter Smith. He is an athletic quarterback, not as good of a passer as the 2024 four-star quarterback commit Jaden Davis, but people around the Michigan program believe he does have some JJ McCarthy in his game. He's a great leader, and he can make plays with his legs. Talking about Michigan, he told 24/7 Sports that just the history of the program alone is special, but what they are doing as a program is top of the line, and so is what Coach Campbell does with the quarterbacks. So let me know what you guys think about this commitment. I like it, and like I said, Michigan's still going to be going after Bryce Underwood. That is their main priority in this cycle. It's mainly between LSU and Michigan, with LSU having a slight lead at this point. But next, I did want to talk about Coach Sherrone Moore and defensive line coach Mike Elston as they met with the media today. Coach Sherrone Moore talked about Harbaugh's comments of Michigan being America's team, and also obviously the slogan Michigan versus everybody. He was asked which one is the true mantra. He said a little bit of both. Everybody that's against us is on the other side. He said, so if America's with us, then let's go. You guys are with us. If not, then tough. We're just going to keep doing what we're doing. He also talked about the 1,000th win potentially against Maryland this weekend. He said, I definitely want coach to be the coach when that happens. He said of Jim Harbaugh, and he said, I would say to me and to everybody else that would be his win. Wouldn't count it as mine. He's the head coach of this football team, and I'm just standing in there to make sure we don't mess it up. He said it's a super honor. He's led us to so many wins, and I count it for him as well. Sherrone Moore also said post-game that I apologize for the language, but don't apologize for the emotion that he showed after the game against Penn State. And he said, really cool to see the whole university coming together and being so close. He said he heard from Desmond Howard and Charles Woodson after his post-game interview. And Sherrone Moore said of the game against Maryland, we all want Harbaugh to be there, but if he isn't, we'll just operate at the highest level we can. Mike Elston, defensive line coach, also said that it would be incredibly disappointing and an absolute shame if Jim Harbaugh wasn't able to be present for Michigan's 1,000th win, but I believe Harbaugh will be counted as the head coach for the win. But last thing I'll talk about is Kris Jenkins, Michigan's defensive tackle, as he's actually been playing through a high ankle sprain, as coach Mike Elston confirmed. He said, what you don't realize about Kris is, I don't remember what game it was, maybe the Minnesota game, but he suffered a high ankle sprain. He's been really dealing with that. He hasn't been moving as well, but he just said that he's been fighting through it. I mean, he's a warrior. He hasn't missed a day, hasn't missed a practice, hasn't missed anything. So that just goes to show, how tough this whole team is. I mean, that is very hard to do, to play through a high ankle sprain. But these players, they are going to do whatever it takes to be on that field, working, playing through injuries, to just succeed and win games. But other than that, that is going to wrap up today's video. Hope you guys did enjoy. If you did, make sure you guys go ahead, drop a like, comment down below, and subscribe for more. If you are new around here, I greatly appreciate it. I'll be having a Maryland versus Michigan preview video out tomorrow, so be on the lookout for that. Other than that, hope you guys all have a great rest of your day, and we will see you guys in the next video. Go Blue.